Today I'm going to talk about what my biggest frustration is when it comes to SEO. Welcome to the Up in My Business podcast with me, Lex Lancaster, where you'll get an inside look at all things tech, business, and my life as a physical therapist turned digital operations expert. You'll hear all about my lessons as a business owner, the ins and outs of tech for your business, and more. From SEO, websites, and email marketing to automations, launches, and copywriting, I've got you. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Up in My Business. I am recording this episode on, let's see what date it is. It's Saturday night. We spent this morning at volleyball as usual and then went to the volleyball tournament that's going on locally. And it was great. We had a really great day. Yesterday, I was smacked in the face by a volleyball. The long and the short is what's called a seam ball. It's a ball that is in between you and your partner. So technically it's both of your balls, or both of your ball. And if there's wind, oftentimes what looks to be one person's ball becomes another person's ball very quickly. So Shantae and I were playing and one of our friends served the ball to our side of the court, and the ball that looked like it was Shantae's ball ended up becoming my ball. And it was also kind of still Shantae's ball. The wind is killer. We were next to the pier. We don't really play there, and the wind does make a huge difference, especially when you're around the pier. So anyway, huge deal. Anyway, got hit in the face, and I have a black eye, so that's kind of funny. I'm laughing about it because, like, what the heck else am I going to do? I've been red lighting, I've been taping. I admittedly have not done much today, and honestly, it's like really itchy, so that's annoying. But otherwise, I'm like, well, I had like part of me wanted to film part of my Google Ads course this weekend. And I was like, well, I guess putting that on the back burner. So anyway, I'm really excited to have that go away at some point during this week. I was looking at my schedule and I was like, well, I'm not meeting too many new people this week. So that's great. But anyway, I think it's funny. It happens obviously in sport, and it's kind of a miracle it hasn't happened yet, honestly. So anyway, just fun stuff. This week I have a dentist appointment. Not excited about it. It's on Thursday and I'm going to be thinking about it all week. I hate the dentist more than anything else in the world. No, not really. But I don't like going to the dentist, and I have like a procedure, and I had this procedure last year in March, and it was just like, it was like a week long of feeling like complete shit afterward. And I'll be honest, like I have dental anxiety. So everything around the dentist, like my nervous system just does not do well. So yeah, it's a shit show, I guess is what I'm trying to say, but it's fine. So I have that. And then I got a new computer. So I got my desktop computer in 2019. It was like my first big girl purchase. And I remember purchasing it because Shantae was like, you have to get a big screen. You can't be working on that tiny laptop all the time. Like, you cannot be doing that. You need a desktop computer. And I pushed back for so long. And I actually think it was the very end of 2019, the beginning of 2020. Actually, I'm making that up. It was the end of 2020. It was the middle of 2020. Toward the end of 2020, I don't remember. It was definitely after I moved into the apartment that I was in. So I want to say it was end of 2020, beginning of 2021. But when I bought it, so this is like I had no money. And when I bought it, it was in the early stages of my business, and I was not full-time in my business yet. And so when I bought it, I bought an older version, and I bought it with like hardly any RAM and hardly any storage. So the running speed and the storage available was literally crap. And it worked. It worked great for 3 or 4 years. And then, this past year, especially starting this past like August, my computer would just randomly shut down. And if you can imagine how frustrating it would be to be working on something, especially things that don't necessarily always save automatically, it would just shut down. And I kind of just chalked it up to being annoying. And I updated my computer and just made sure all like the things were taken care of. And it just continuously kept doing it. And I don't know if you have a Mac or any computer really, you can hear the fan on the computer, and my desktop fan got so loud that when I was on Zoom calls, it was almost hard for my ears to like filter out the fan of my computer. So that was just, for lack of better terms, I work on my computer for about 10 hours every single day. So that I just couldn't do it anymore. Got a new computer. It's silent. Like this, it's crazy to sit in my office and not hear a fan the entire time. It's wild to me because my other computer was just, it was like, I'm assuming months away from explosion is what I could say. I used to laugh on Zoom calls and be like, if you can hear something in the background, which people typically can't because my microphone filters it out, but it sounded like a plane was about to take off from my desk and it was just too much. So anyway, got a new computer. I'm really, really happy with it because again, like I'm on my computer 10 hours a day, almost 5 days a week, sometimes six. And I'm like, I cannot, like, absolutely not. Can I do this anymore? So it's really great. Any other personal business stuff? Hobbies have kind of like gone in the trash. I just don't know what it is. It's time. It's definitely time, but I also I know that I need to make the time. And also I'm just finding that I'm in a season of wanting to work more and just physically working more, and it is what it is, and I'm just embracing it. Work travel coming up, going to New York City with Anna Hartman, Movement Rev on Instagram for a couple days. Her business coach, Jill, which obviously is Shantae's best friend, is hosting an event in New York City. So I'm going to go to New York City. I need to do a whole episode on this because I do think there are more people like me, and I just want to like put it out there and talk about it. But I need to do a whole episode on traveling alone and like my opinion on it and like experiencing things alone, because I know I'm not alone in the fact that my opinion exists, and I feel like other people will feel the same way. But I think I just need to like riff on it, and I will do that at a later date. But I have opinions. Outside of that, the next big trip is our Switzerland trip, which I'm really excited for. I'm so excited for that. It's going to be so fun. And on that freaking topic, I got an Olympic ticket slot because we are located in LA. So we had local tickets and I passed them up, man, because the only tickets that were available for the women's final. I would love to go to the women's volleyball final. We see these teams all the time, and like in Switzerland, we're going to watch at the end of the day, I believe it'll be close to like 65 or 70 matches, which is a lot, right? So that's a lot of matches. And we see these teams all the time. So we kind of have an idea based on like how teams are doing right now, who is going to be in the finals. And I'm not going to jinx anything, but absolutely not. I just need to, I could not justify spending $1,500 a ticket for one match. Well, I think it might have been the women's bronze and the women's gold, but I was like, I absolutely cannot justify that. That's insane to me. So I passed up the slot because they didn't have any cheaper tickets available for the finals. I would have sat in the nosebleeds. We would have sat in the nosebleeds just to like have the experience, but there was none available. So anyway, no Olympics tickets yet. We'll see what happens later on. I might have to, I don't know, maybe we'll buy some secondhand or whatever the rebuying. I don't know, whatever that's called, but we'll see what happens because yeah, kind of annoying to be honest with you. Okay. I think it's time to jump in. So a little announcement. Number one, SEO School will open for enrollment next Monday to the public. If you're not on the wait list, you can't get on it anymore. The wait list is currently closed. So just recognize that you can't get on the wait list right now. The wait list is closed. You are basically forced to get on my newsletter if you're not on my newsletter list in order to get the information when it opens for enrollment. I am not fully sure about what's happening with SEO School after this cohort. I don't have a solid plan. The only solid plan I have is that I'm not running it the same way with the same level of support until fall of 2027 at least. I actually don't know, based on like what happens, if I will ever run it with the same level of support again, just because this is not my signature offer, and I'm fully embracing that. My signature offer is done for you services, not SEO School. So SEO School needs to fit in my done for you services calendar. And like, I love SEO School. Don't get me wrong. Love it so much. But doing it twice a year is not working for me. So I'm definitely doing it once a year, but I'm again, I don't want to speak out of turn. And when I say out of turn, I just mean against myself here, because I still need to make some decisions. But I know that I will not be offering and doing a formal launch like this until fall of 2027. So if you're not in, you're out until then, at least for this level of support. And again, because I redid the course, you technically don't need the level of support that I gave, especially in rounds 6 through 9. Or no, rounds 5 through 8. You don't need that level of support, because round 9 proved that to me. Like, it really did prove it to me that you don't need the support that I used to have. And I decreased the support a little bit for this round just because I know it. And I know that based on what I saw and the questions that were asked and what was being done, I knew what needed to be there and what didn't need to be there. So anyway, the long and the short is, if you want to join, public enrollment opens next week. I don't allow people to join the wait list after the wait list closes, and that closed last Friday. So you won't be able to join the wait list. You will have to wait until public enrollment next week. And next week, when I say next week, I say it's April 20th, 2026, and it closes on April 24th, 2026. Alrighty. And today, if you're on the wait list, you did get an email, by the way. And today's the day for the early action bonuses. So if you're on the wait list, make sure you enroll. Okay, with that being said, I kind of struggled to figure out like what I wanted to talk about today, because I want to talk about SEO, and I feel like I beat the horse dead on it, because I feel like most people know that I think it's important. And I think that we all know that certain things are important, and other people can brush them off. And like, that's an independent decision of whether or not it is or is not important. So an example in the clinical realm may be, some people know that dry needling is a really important part of a plan of care. If someone is never exposed to dry needling, they likely don't know how helpful it is. Now, I'm speaking as someone from the sidelines, because I don't want to perform and I do not want to receive dry needling. However, if you are a practitioner who dry needles, you know how beneficial it can be for people who are open to having that treatment. If you have never been exposed to dry needling, you resort to some other type of treatment, right? So no judgment. There's no judgment passed. It's just like, what are you experienced with? What do you know to be true? And then, do you think it's important? If it is, awesome. It is. If you aren't exposed to something, how are you supposed to know how important it is? So this, you all know how I feel about it and how important it is to me, as far as like things that you know. Now, the people that I work with inside of SEO School, I know that is a very small portion of the population of physical therapists, occupational therapists, massage therapists, all of the movement pros. Like, it is a very small subset of the population. Now, the people that I do think, and the reason I say that is because I got in a call last week, and it was a practitioner. She had a big business. And she was like, I don't have the time to do your SEO school. Like, I'm sure it's great, but I don't have the time. I have no interest. I don't want to. That's great. Those people will typically benefit from a done for you service. Now, with an asterisk, I love when people take SEO school to simply know what it is so that they can hire it out. Because I've seen people get bamboozled by hiring it out before knowing what the heck they're hiring out for, which can be kind of nerve-wracking and scary. And like, if you don't mind blowing money, cool. But I do think it's important to understand, or at least have a friend who has worked with someone before you work with that person. So taking a step back, I recognize it's a very small subset of people who want to learn how to do their own SEO. I get it. 100% I understand. So when it comes to thinking about, what I wanted to talk about today, I landed on the fact that I want to talk to you about my biggest frustration with SEO. And I think I honestly relate it a lot to what I work with Anna Hartman and Movement Rev and the things that we talk about within her business structure as well. I believe with my full body that SEO is something that a lot of people brush off because it doesn't feel important enough to invest time, money, and energy into. And I believe a lot of people brush it off because they don't see the ROI. And when you don't see an ROI or you don't understand the ROI, it can be really tough to make it a priority. And I understand that. I 100% understand that. And I do think a lot of folks are really, for lack of better terms, happy as a clam with what they've got going on in this very moment in time, and don't really understand the value of adding a skill or knowing what SEO is. So I'm going to first talk about the person who has enough referrals right now. Their business is doing, they can fill their schedule without SEO, or so they think. They're not using SEO. And maybe they're accidentally ranking on Google. And when I say accidentally, what I mean by that is you created a website, you have a Google My Business account, and you're in a town and you're ranking on Google. That can be very quickly dismantled by someone who comes in and starts doing SEO work. In the cash-based realm, I will tell you that over the course of the last 3 years, I believe everyone can kind of look around and see it. A lot of people are starting businesses. Congrats. That's amazing. I love it. As a business owner, and as someone who recognizes that I want to show up when someone makes a search for what I do, I know, or I will tell you, that it's a really important measure for you to control as early as possible. And I think one of the hardest things, and the reason why I say I relate it to Anna and her business, is because she's teaching assessment. Treatment is really sexy. Like treatment techniques, learning new treatment things is really sexy. Assessment is not as sexy. So she's constantly fighting an uphill battle to say like, hey, look, if you don't learn the assessment side, your treatments are not as targeted as they could be. When you have a great assessment tool to learn where you need to start treatment, that means that you're going to get better results and faster results. Yay, right? But that's tough. That's tough to see if something seems a little bit different than what you're used to, or it's threatening the time and it's another thing added to your plate. And so I sit here and I'm like, I get it. I understand. I was also a business owner and I also owned a clinic. Like I understand. I understand that it's really tough to invest time, money, energy into something when, one, it's a lot of work. Two, you don't have immediate ROI. And especially if you're a business who's accidentally ranking right now, you're like, well, I'm already getting referrals from Google. Who cares? I will tell you, you're going to care when there's another physical therapy practice who comes into your town. And I will say I've watched it multiple times with different clients. Someone opens up in the same town and either you already control the search or you don't. And I have people who contact me and they're like, oh man, like I have a PT clinic and it's in a smaller area. I've always kind of come up on Google, but now I have a new clinic coming in. And I also, there's these big box clinics and hospital clinics, they're there and I'm not really ranking above them. Like I will tell you that it's so important to understand that over time, if you don't care about the SEO and ranking on Google side of your business, at some point in time, and I can't this is not a threat, this is just like what I've seen, there's going to be something that makes you care. And it's either going to be, word of mouth referrals slow down. Maybe we have, a new clinic comes into town. Maybe we have someone who adds a service to their practice, like ortho practices adding pelvic to their practices, and then pelvic health providers who aren't investing in SEO. They're like, what the heck? Like, what? You're adding this. It's not someone who's completed the actual pelvic health work. I've had this happen before. And then you're like, but we have the actual education to provide an internal exam. You're doing not that. You're not doing internal exams. You're just calling it pelvic health when you're just doing PT with those who identify as women. But I digress. Big feelings around that subject, which is part of my whole story with SEO School. So I will tell you that the most frustrating thing for me when it comes to SEO is that I want everyone to succeed. And I do want everyone to care about this thing that I care about so much, because it's going to help you and it's a game that you can win. So like when I first learned SEO, how do I say this? I recognize that it's different, right? And it's not something that it's techie. It sounds techie to begin with. You're like, why do I want to do techie stuff? It's like literally the techie stuff is probably one module, maybe two modules. The rest of it is like getting everything else in your business in order to support your SEO. So anyway, regardless, I recognized how different this was. And ever since I've seen it help practices do different things, I just can't ignore the fact that it is one of the most useful marketing tools in your business that most people are not taking advantage of. And the reason I know that is because I also I have done for you services. I see who my competition is and I'm like, you're putting zero effort into this. What are we doing? So if you're in an area and there's someone who's not putting any effort into their SEO, it's almost like a hole in one, right? You just start doing the thing, you gain the credibility, you're the person in that space, and then you can just build and build and build, because it's all exponential growth in most cases. And it's just me saying, I'm just like, oh my God, it's so important. And I can tell you that while there are a lot of reasons for different folks' success, you know, you have word of mouth referrals, people refer people to you, and people don't ever stop referring to you. I believe that 1000%. I love word of mouth marketing. I will also tell you that I had a client this month. She messaged me and was like, this is a record breaking month. We have 67 evals booked. 67. It was 67 evals booked this month. And the traffic that she's running is 1 from SEO, 2 Google ads, 3 Facebook ads. Now, I want to be very clear when I say this. Just because she's running ads does not mean that those people are coming from ads, because on the back end, you know what I can see? I can see a lot of people who see her first on an ad or second on an ad, and they end up converting when they see her organically. In the rare instance, in one instance, she's running a retargeting ad and they convert there. But I will tell you that Google and organic search is a leading factor in these bookings. It is a leading factor, and it is the most. That's where she's getting the most people from. I have another person who just doesn't have a slowdown. Like, there is a very normal seasonality to business and a very normal seasonality to when you have increased patients, less patients, what have you. And that seasonality, you can't like get rid of it. But what I can tell you is that I have specific people, I'm thinking of multiple people off the top of my head, that they don't have that seasonality piece. Like, it's not actually showing that they have a seasonality piece because they have enough leads from each marketing silo to compensate. And so if word of mouth is down, well, Google's still performing, and then vice versa. And, you know, this is me telling you, I will make sure I say it blatantly because, you know, I will not guarantee you the same success. I will not guarantee you that you're going to have the same success that I've seen over and over again. I can't do that. That would be very irresponsible of me. You know, your results may vary always. But here's the thing is, Google is a predictable algorithm. And what makes me so frustrated is that people will look at their freaking Instagram stats and be so obsessed with posting on Instagram. And I'm going to tell you right now, Instagram is an unpredictable algorithm. You do not own Instagram. That can go away at any point in time. That is scary. It's scary to have your stuff riding on that, right? That does not make sense. That's not a good idea. We want to diversify our marketing, but also, in my mind, if I'm going to be obsessed with posting on something and analytics, you better believe I'm going to be obsessed with Google because I know it's a game that I can win. That's a game that I can win, win, win. I'm putting money in, not money. Let me back. Not money. I'm putting energy, effort, time in because it's free, and I'm going to win the game as long as I follow the protocol. I just need to be patient enough to allow myself to win. And you can hear it in my voice. I get so passionate about this because I'm just like, stop looking at your Instagram statistics. Your Instagram analytics and all that crap, it's so random. And it doesn't, like, your post views, I'm telling you, like, you can look at your analytics all the time. It's an unpredictable algorithm. It doesn't make sense to invest your crazy amount of energy into it. Like, it does not make sense. SEO, though, that's a game you can win. Google, you can win. You want to look at analytics, look there. Like, that's where I would start. And it's just so frustrating to me that I guess I chose this game, but it's so frustrating that I can't force anybody to care about it. I can't, and I don't want to, blatantly. I don't want to force anyone to care about anything. But it's so frustrating when I know that the game is a winnable game and folks are spending so much of their precious energy on games that are really tough to win and also very unpredictable, aka Instagram. And when you have a game that you can win in front of you and then you choose the hard path, I'm like, man, come on, this makes so much sense. People are actively searching for you and problems that you solve, and you are instead going to post on Instagram where you don't own that traffic and it's very unpredictable and who knows who's going to see your stuff. It just feels like crazy town to me. But again, to each their own. And I understand Instagram's an important part of your business too, because people go there to make sure you're not a serial killer. But I will tell you that leaving the SEO component out of it is something that I would not recommend. And that is the most frustrating thing for me when it comes to SEO, is that I can't make people care. I don't want to make people care, but I want to be able to show folks this is such an important part of your business. Even if you can't see it right now, trust me. And it's so incredibly hard to have to accept that this thing is not well appreciated until the results are seen. And that's really tough if you don't put in the work, because you won't see the results. And oftentimes you need the results, and that's when you start doing it. And then I have to give the bad news of well, you should have started 8 months ago. You should have started a year ago, because this is not an overnight thing. And I just want people to succeed, and I want people to have the best results. I want you to have all the marketing silos working for you. And it's really tough when it just goes not unrecognized, but it's just not important. And yeah. Oh, my heart. Okay. I feel like I can't really, anyway, that's the most frustrating thing for me, is that I just want everyone to succeed and have all the things. And it's tough when one of the most predictable and owned marketing silos is just kind of brushed off. That is at the end of the day, that is where my head is at. So if you care, if you don't care, if you know you care, but you don't have the time, I totally get it. I will say that I highly recommend you join SEO School if you haven't taken it already. I know a lot of people who listen to this podcast have already taken it. And if you have taken it and you haven't done the updated curriculum, I highly suggest you do that. SEO School will be open to the public next week from Monday, Monday, April 20th to Friday, April 24th. And yeah, that's really all I've got for you. I wanted to, I struggled coming up with what do I actually want to talk about regarding this? And I really think that I landed on this because emotionally it just felt so right at the time. So I appreciate you for listening. Please let me know if you have questions. I'm happy to answer them. And otherwise, I will catch you next time.